The following podcast has spoilers for Mass Effect 3's campaign. Listen at your own discretion.
That everyone seems to be staring at you. Walk in the street and you gaze at your feet. Now why you feeling so blue? You're locked away cause you can't face the day. Is there something wrong? Too scared to speak cause your knees go so weak. Now that it's been so long, take it all away now. 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 Are you just paranoid? Are you just paranoid?
Welcome to the first podcast for the Paranoid Gamer. I'm your host, Robert, otherwise known as Clear Conscience. With me is Taylor.
Hey.
Mike.
How's it going?
And the infamous Fagin.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to greet everyone? That's your first impression?
I'm a surly old man. I'll greet them whatever way I want.
Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about. It seems like every week we have a lot of stuff to talk about. But I think most on everyone's mind right now is the whole fiasco with Mass Effect 3 and Bioware. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? Don't all jump at one time.
I don't know. Is fiasco the right word? Maybe that's too leading.
How about catastrophe?
That's better. There we go. That's more positive.
How about the end is freaking nigh? You know, that. How about ruined an entire franchise on purpose, according to the developer?
According to an iPad app by Jeff Keighley.
Well, whatever.
Who's known as the most reputable source in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
I think that BioWare's relative silence on it says a lot more than words. You know, it seems pretty obvious that they were keeping their trap shut just so that Jeff Keighley could peddle his $3, downloadable app that has this BioWare information in it about the ending and all the details behind it.
What do you think, Mike? I heard you laughing in the background.
I still think that there's more than meets the eye with the ending, and that what will happen, remains to be seen. I'm still waiting for an official word from Bioware.
Well, we know that there's more to meet the eye on the actual discs that we paid money for. So,
there we go.
Yeah. So I'm of the opinion that you're probably right, and it's probably more crap ending. So.
I really like the whole end, the part with the Stargazer, and tell us one more story about the Shepherd. And okay, one more. Just makes me think that they're gonna give us some ending DLC type thing. That's what I think is gonna happen because.
You know what makes me think that?
What?
There's a DLC prompt at the end of the goddamn game.
It does, yeah, that too. But they haven't stated on if that's actually going to be ending DLC or if it's going to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, I recognize the fact that you're in a state of denial, But
What am I'm not denying anything here.
No,
Well,
he's in the bargaining stage.
He's in
We've
bargaining.
already gone over this.
I'm not bargaining for anything either.
You're bargaining for a better ending.
I'm not bargaining for better. I'm thinking that it's gonna come, but I'm not. Well, unlike Fagan here, I'm not pissed off at the ending. Haha.
I feel betrayed by the ending. I feel betrayed by BioWare. I feel betrayed, and it's not because I didn't love 99.95% of the game. I did. I even got over the fact in Mass Effect 2 that I
Legitimate
killed.
percentage, anyways.
Would you shut up? No, I'm over all that. All right, I loved the game. Do not get me wrong. I did not love the last 15 minutes, which was a complete and utter betrayal of the time and the money that I spent playing the other two games and the first 95% of this one.
Okay, I totally understand that. I totally get that 100%. Now, the reason why I don't feel betrayed like you, because I played through Mass Effect 1 and 2, both of them, like 9 times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I completed Mass Effect 3 twice now. And both times when I watched the ending, I was not mad. I was not, I didn't feel betrayed by BioWare. I'm very confused, yes, very extremely confused at the ending because it doesn't make a lot of sense. But then when you look at the Indoc theory, it has to work. And if you don't think that the Indoc theory is true, then you have to take it at face value. And if you take the ending at face value, that means that like what the hell happened here? All this just doesn't make any sense. So that's why I think the Indoc theory is true. That's just me.
Well, and I appreciate the fact that there are a lot of true believers out there that want to think that the Indoc theory is correct, and I've seen some great writing out there explaining why. If the Indoc theory is in fact true, well, I'm still mad at BioWare.
Well, I'm also
mad at BioWare too. And I'm also mad at BioWare because they basically blew their entire canon up in the last 15 minutes of that game. There never should have been, if in fact that's what happened, all right, and that the Citadel is in fact a Reaper.
Spoiler
all right.
alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Oh yeah. Did we forget to mention that people
right.
listening there might be a couple billion spoilers in there.
A couple
Right.
of big spoilers. Okay, well, here's my thought on that.
The whole first game is irrelevant
After Sovereign hooks up, that game is irrelevant. There is no Mass
Exactly.
Effect 2. There is no Mass Effect 3.
Right, because
It's
fuck what the
over.
Keepers can do if the Citadel itself is in control of itself.
That's right.
Why did the Keeper theory? Right, no,
That's
I totally
right.
understand that,
And
that's another big discrepancy that needs answered.
And it needs a lot more than answering. Basically, I'm just going with the fact that now that Shepard has actually never left Vermeer, and he's next to that crazy Solarian. and Sovereign has been indoctrinating him the whole time, and this has all been a dream. Okay, because that is the most asinine hole ever in the entire Mass Effect universe. That is the big glaring thing that jumped out at me. Once Sovereign hooked up, game over.
Well, it should have been according to Mass Effect 3's, right, their theory there. But, yeah, so, I mean, there's plot holes, yeah. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's more than plot holes. There are gaping black holes in the that suck the essence of the entire Mass Effect universe into another universe.
As a longtime fan of BioWare, and I've played many other games, and I love Mass Effect 3, the Mass Effect series, getting down to the final ending, I don't know, I just feel very confused. Not so much angry, just confused as to why would you end it like this if you're not going to give us DLC, or you're not going to make a Mass Effect 4 or something else. Why would you have it so open like that? And so confusing outright and purposely confusing. Why?
They are making a Mass Effect 4. They're already talking about it. Excuse me. And why in the world would anybody play it? I mean, Why waste the time? That's the thing that annoys me the most. You've alienated at least 70% or 80% of your fan base with this, with pulling this. They pulled a Dragon Age 2 on Mass Effect.
I think my biggest issue with the indoctrination theory is that, say it were true, okay? So just we're taking it at face value, say it's true. How are they going to release it? I mean, as DLC? Not everyone has internet connections. Not everyone can have access to, a downloadable. Say it's free, hoorah! Everyone loves Bioware, but there's a huge portion of those people that don't have internet connections that don't have access to that content. So that really doesn't sit well with me personally.
But if they do make it DLC, they could go for the thing where you can go to GameStop and get a code for it. You know what I'm saying? Like they did with the From Ashes DLC. You could buy the code in the store and then bring it home. But yeah, you'd still need. I guess if it's on the disc, I guess you can get a code to unlock it from the store. But if you have to actually download it, then yeah, you're still screwed if you don't have internet.
Yeah.
If the proper ending is actually on the disc, that information will be such a massive shitstorm that BioWare will never live it down.
They'll never recover.
Not ever.
They'll never recover. They're already in trouble over the Promethean being on the disc.
Yeah.
Or the Prothean being on the disc. That and plus the fact that there's an unlock code out there for PCs that's unlocked all the DLC.
Oh yeah, I read about that. That's
and
pretty.
If in fact all the DLC is on disc, they lied through their teeth.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, it only takes a few hundred pissed off fans to wipe out thousands of new purchases for BioWare products. And in the long run, that kind of money hits revenue. It hits revenue.
Yeah, because it's people that aren't going to play the Old Republic. It's people that aren't going to play Dragon Age 3. It's not just one franchise that takes a hit. It's all of their franchises. And even EA, probably. A lot of these people, since BioWare's connected with EA now, are going to boycott EA products.
Well, EA is not even doing that good. If you look at their revenue and their stocks compared to like 2006, they've gone way down.
Well, the whole gaming industry is getting hammered right now.
They're still doing better than any other medium, though, at least.
That's true.
And, you know what else is really bad, too, is that Forbes reported on the whole BioWare debacle, and they were talking about, potential investors pulling out their money and stuff, and that's not good when you have a big company like that, or, big media outlet like that reporting on video game stuff, that really... The people reading Forbes, I don't think they're reading it for the video game articles, So.
Well, it's really sad that Forbes had to be the one to really kind of bring this to the attention of a bunch of people. Like, leave it to IGN or GameSpot or The Escapist or any of these other big name sites to just totally not cover any of this.
Don't even get me started on IGN.
When they do start covering this stuff, it's mostly just talking down to gamers and wagging the finger at them.
It's basically happy talk because they're getting advertising revenue from the companies on their site. And I really question the fact whether IGN is capable, or any of these other sites are capable of actually doing a real review anymore.
Without taking the money?
Well, not even so much that. Can they do an honest review because they're making money off those sites?
Well, I don't know. Just because one of their staff members is in the game and their entire site is plastered in the ads and they get tons of exclusive content, which gets them tons of money, it doesn't mean that they're biased.
Actually, their staff member plays the easiest skank in the Mass Effect universe. You don't even have to date her first before getting tongue. So,
oh God. do you think that her sexual promiscuity in the game, might be a direct reflection of how easy it is to get good reviews from IGN?
I do.
It could be a commentary.
Are we basically calling them whores?
Well, yeah,
basically.
Pretty corporate whores, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They collude. Come on, they collude with the different publishers. They get exclusive content, which then brings in people to look at that content, which then gets them ad revenue, which is usually paid by the people that they're doing product reviews for. It's a complete circle. It's It's a big wank.
Yeah, and frankly, yeah, it's part of the business, and I understand why they're doing it. But you know what? It needs to be. If you're going to be a review site, you've got to have certain standards, and I know they quote unquote have them, but I've seen way too many reviews coming out of IGN that are questionable at best.
IGN has standards. That's news to me.
That's kind of cold. I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
A little bit. A little bit.
They have been given the benefit of the doubt for a very long time now, and it's just, when you pull as much shit as they do, or GameSpot.
Well, they're not the only company or the only site that does this. I mean, you've got a couple others that have popped up in the last couple of days that have talked down to their fans. Let's see. Who jumped? Oh yeah, the Escapist.
Destructoid.
Destructoid, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really ironic because didn't Destructoid kind of start as a really just a fan site, really?
Yeah.
So they could go to E3, and to have them kind of just backtalk the people that they used to be, it's just.
Well, that's also just Jim. He's pretty much their resident
troll.
He just throws shit out there and he gets tons of views. That's why they love him there. I mean, that's all he can do.
Well, I look at somebody now. Let me throw out Ben Yahtzee. All right. A lot of people don't like the way he does things, but I don't think anyone is ever going to accuse him of being part of the establishment. I mean, even when he likes a game, he tears it to pieces.
The only thing I don't like about Ben Yahtzee, the only thing that rustles my jimmies about that is that I don't like when people take him as a legit reviewer. I don't think that he's a completely legit reviewer. I think that he has a very comedic slant to everything that he does, and that's what he's mainly going for, is entertainment and not to inform people, because I've seen him do reviews on things that were just completely wrong. And I don't even mean that as an opinion. I mean, he completely misstated features of the game, didn't even bother playing through 1/5 of the game, things like that. That's not professional review behavior.
That's true. But at the same time, he does better reviews than IGN.
Oh yeah, I mean, he actually goes into he goes after it no matter how much he likes it and tries to pick out the flaws.
Mm-hmm.
IGN looks very closely at the games it doesn't care about and looks away from the ones that are going to bring in the revenue.
Yeah.
Like look at Silent Hill Downpour is a perfect example, right?
That game does have a few problems. I've been playing it for my review coming up, and it does have but it's all technical issues. It's things like frame drops at really weird times, or you go through a door and the saving screen pops up and a few frames get dropped, and you're trying to compensate. And the next thing you know, you're staring at the ceiling while monsters, beating the shit out of you. And I mean,
that's not a little problem.
Like it's a technical issue that rears its head here and there, but everything else in the game, in my opinion, so far has been hitting pretty much all the cylinders. Okay. Music is good, the graphics aren't bad, the gameplay is fun, the combat kind of shadows that survival horror aspect you want, where it gets you by. So it's not abysmal, but it's not really supposed to be your main option. You're supposed to usually run away. And the story's good so far. I think that Murphy's one of the best protagonists in the series so far. So,
okay.
I mean, it's going pretty good.
Back to Mass Effect. Because I don't want to be accused of being a total negative ninny. What did you find best about the game? I have some things in there that I really loved about it. The 99.9% of the game that I actually really enjoyed. The interaction with Tally in the lounge had me laughing for about 2 hours. I don't know if you've all had that part.
Where she's sticking the straw in her.
She's trying to stick the straw in her environmental suit when she's drunk. That's pretty good. And talking about Miranda's ass. That was some funny stuff. Or the I'm Garrus Vicarian and this is my favorite place on the Citadel after you throw a shooting contest. That's pretty cool.
I could probably tell you more of what I dislike about the game than.
Well, you got to do a balanced review of these things. I mean, there is some wonderful stuff in this game.
That's true. That's true.
All right, and to get away from surly old man, if they could just cut the last 15 minutes and made it never happen, I would be giving this game an 8.5.
You know what? The other thing I didn't like is when you were fighting the Reaper with the whole where you're targeting it and for the flotilla and the Geth or whatever to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an orbital strike, right? And you're shooting the Reaper, but it doesn't kill Shepard. It seems like a little bit of a BS in my eyes.
Mm. Well, there's a lot of BS in the game. You got to take it with a.
But the issue is they cut a boss battle because it was too video gamey, but that section wasn't too video gamey. It was like, come on.
Well, you got to take a little fiction in your science fiction. I mean,
yeah. Shepard.
what do you think, Mike? I mean, what did you like about the game?
Mike.
he just left to go play it right now.
It's like, screw you guys.
Start talking about Silent Hill. I don't want to talk about Silent Hill.
Shit. Yeah, sorry about that. No, I had my mic on mute for a second because there's stuff going on in the background. Sorry. So I was talking for a minute. No one was hearing me. I was like, what's going on here? So I like a lot about it. The comedy was great. The comedy was just hysterical. I saw a scene today that I didn't see my first time around. Spoiler alert here is if you don't romance Tali or Garrus or whatever, right before you go on the final mission, you could find them embracing each other in the main gun area. It's pretty funny too, and they make it all awkward and shit. It's pretty funny.
Go Garrus.
Garrus is such a player.
Garrus is a player, man.
He's a horn dog.
Yeah.
He's working on his calibrations.
He's gonna calibrate Tali's environmental suit.
I mean, I liked a lot about the game. I mean, and they pretty much improved in every area possible, but like the ending is just confusing. But as far as like with the end boss, and they didn't do an end boss, and it was just dialogue, I actually like that. Because although they said it would be too video gamey to fight the elusive man as some giant hulking abomination, I mean, I see how that could have been all right, but I also see how that could have been bad, because we know the elusive man to be, his intelligence is his main power, not his brute strength, He's built, they build his character on his intelligence and his cunning and his deception, and if you're just going to, instead of that, you're going to fight some, giant beast of a Hulk, and now it's like, I used to be the elusive man. I could see why they chose not to, maybe giving the reason being too video gamey is a dumb reason to give, but I totally understand if they didn't use him as a giant boss because of what you know him to be as, intelligent and not, strong strength.
Well, they could have done something along the lines of what they did with Saren. I mean, depending on what you're thinking, in Mass Effect 1, you could make Saren kill himself.
You could also make the elusive man shoot himself.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I made him do that on my first playthrough. I made him shoot himself, and I was like, wow, this is just like Saren's going on here. And my second playthrough, shot him outright.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have an interesting thing to mention to you then, Mike. The video that you were showing before, we were talking about like the whole indoctrination theory, stuff like that, it pretty much makes it out to be that Anderson is Shepard's, willpower, his good side, trying to fight back against the indoctrination, trying to snap him out of it, where the elusive man is pretty much the influence of the Reapers.
Right.
So if that was what Bioware had intended, wouldn't Tim, the elusive man suddenly turning into a massive hulking Reaper monster pretty much be perfectly consistent with that exact same theory? I mean, wouldn't it be consistent with it, with the Reaper side pretty much fighting back, and then Shepard defeats it, and then he assumedly conquers that part of himself, or so he thinks. But they thought it was gamey, so they cut that out. So I'm saying, like, it doesn't necessarily seem like that supports that theory.
No, okay, I hear what you're saying, but let me counter by saying, if we're saying that the Indoc theory is true, then the Reapers wouldn't want Shepard to know that he was being manipulated at any moment, So they wouldn't want the elusive man to look like a Reaper, other than, he's partially, he's got like the stuff in his neck or whatever from he injected himself.
Well, I mean,
They
he already
wouldn't-
looks like one.
Right, but if I don't know. I mean,
He's
if they
always
if,
looked like
if he was
Saren,
fighting if he's actually in his mind and that's his subconscious fighting with itself, and he's watching himself fight each other. I think that if they had chose to make the Elusive Man turn into a giant hulking beast of a Reaper fight, whatever, it would have not just would like thrown. I mean, for reality's sake, maybe it would have woken up his conscious and let him know that okay, I'm actually. They're trying to indoctrinate me. I have to pull back at all costs. Whereas Reapers are trying for the more subtle indoctrination to whereas Shepard doesn't know he's being influenced and manipulated, but we're still doing it, and we're not going to let him know that we're doing it. Otherwise, we might lose our hold that we already have established. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can understand that.
I can understand that. I don't think that BioWare is capable of pulling that off anymore.
Well, personally, for me, my biggest disappointment actually had to do with the Reapers. I felt
The
like
reason for the Reapers.
Yes, in Mass Effect 1 and 2, the Reapers were built up as being like eldritch horrors from the dark of space. They're unknowable. You can't possibly understand our reasons and all that as they tell you over and over again.
Right.
And then it turns out to be something just so stupid. It's just that really disappointed me.
I would have been so much happier if they had continued with the dark energy thing that they brought up in Mass Effect 2, the dark matter.
Wasn't that on Hellstrom?
Yeah,
with,
on Hellstrom
Tali's machine?
and Tally's in the conversations after Tally's trial, and to find out that actually using the Mass Effect was destroying the space-time continuum, and that's what the Reapers were there to protect. That would have made so much more sense. Instead, they did this crap.
It would have been better, I agree, but I'd be open to them just leaving it completely vague, saying that you could never know why we do what we do. I would have liked that.
Yeah, that too. Even
Not
without-
knowing
But
would have
that
been-
wasn't what they did. They came up there. Well, synthetics are going to kill you. Really? That's it.
We're already getting killed by
The
synthetics.
What the hell do you think we've been fighting? What, are
Well,
you
and it's already established that the Geth don't even want to kill people anymore.
That's true. They never wanted to kill people to begin with. That was what.
Until guess what? Until the Reapers showed up and then convinced synthetics to start killing people.
Well, yeah. So yeah, that's another big hole in the canon. It's stupid. It's an absolutely, completely stupid way of summing up a game, and it's a betrayal of the Mass Effect universe.
Right.
And the indoctrination theory is not going to save that betrayal.
I'm not saying it's going to save the betrayal at all. I'm just saying that could be what they're going for.
I know I understand that, but because they came out with this crap, and it is a milk chocolate covered turd. Yeah, that's what it is. I don't care what they do. I'm never buying another BioWare product. Ever.
Well, at least we got this publicly announced out
we
there.
have this on record.
We have to
now.
see if you really go through with this.
When was the last cryptic product you ever saw me buy?
Has there been another?
Has there been another?
How about this
doesn't-
question? Will you go see the Mass Effect movie when it comes out?
I will not do anything Mass Effect. I will not buy a book. I will not buy anything. I'll tell you right now, and clear conscience can point out that I am a voracious reader. I read everything. And for me to say I'm not going to buy the books, that's kind of scary.
Considering that they've been, other than the fourth one, they've all been really pretty good.
Wasn't the fourth one
really
made a bunch of people angry because it?
Oh yeah, they got recalled, I think, right?
Yeah, they got recalled because there were so many errors with the lore and stuff that like whoever wrote the book, I'm pretty sure his name was William C. Dietz or something like that.
Was it Dietz?
Yeah, he also did the Halo the Flood books, not good apparently. So he fucked it up big time, and they had to do a call, and Bioware made like a public apology and stuff because people were pissed. There was a lot of just.
They apologized for that.
I've read a lot of William Dietz too. He's written some good stuff. So, too bad.
Too bad.
But no, I'm never going to buy another EA or BioWare product. Console gaming isn't that important to me anyway. It really isn't. I play very few. I swore I'd never play another Dragon Age game after Dragon Age 2 because it was so inane. And I took a lot of heat for a review I did on Dragon Age until people actually played the game and went, "Oh my God, he's right."
Oh, Dragon Age 2 was horrible. They reused that same dungeon like 7 times in a row. I remember it.
You do know that they used the same dungeon from the Old Republic, right?
No.
And modified it a little bit.
What dungeon is that?
What was the name of the Jedi planet?
Oh, Dantooine?
Coruscant?
Dantooine.
Dantooine. They used Dantooine and modified Dantooine a little bit. I went, oh God, you got to be kidding me! With the canyons?
Really?
Yeah, I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified. I pointed it out to Rob when I when I was playing. I went, "Are you kidding me?" I may be old, but I'm fairly observant about some things, and stupid I'm not, and stubborn. And once you screw me, you're never going to get my money again. And it came close with Mass Effect 2 with the Baby Reaper that I could kill with the Carnifex hand cannon. That was close.
That whole thing was kind of stupid. I mean,
yeah, and I was
none of
pretty
the
mad
Reapers
about
look
that, but I
anything
said
like that.
I was mad about that, but I let it slide.
Because they brought it in with a good ending.
They brought it in when I got to threaten the Elusive Man afterwards. I thought that was pretty cool, but and I'm playing through Mass Effect 3. I was going, oh, they've redeemed me. They've saved me, and I'll buy more Bioware right up until minute 15 of walking through the bodies. And I went, wait a minute, what the hell is this? And then I got up to Anderson and the Elusive Man, and I went, oh God, I see it coming now. And then it just went downhill from there.
Like Hawk. Can I be a dragon?
Are you a dragon?
What about the Sailor Moon look-alike, or the guy that was a direct rip-off of the character in Jade Empire?
Please don't.
Who's that?
The Warden, right? It was the Warden that was a rip-off of the Jade Empire character, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
Warden,
what he said.
Mm-hmm.
He said the only good character was the one he had to kill.
Any of the ones he had to kill were better characters than the. I would have, gleefully paid to watch those people killed in slow, bloody deaths and have them scream the entire time. Which I guess sounds kind of mean, but true. And if that's what BioWare is degenerating to, if you cannot generate sympathy for a character, and you have a story-driven game franchise, you are in the wrong line of business. You've gone wrong. I mean, people were upset. Here's another spoiler alert, y'all.
Like we feel like it really matters at this point.
I think we're too deep for that.
Yeah. The fact when Morden dies in this game, I felt bad. I felt really, really bad. I mean, because he was by far my favorite character.
I felt pretty bad too, but I felt even worse when I killed the guy who is in place of Morden. If Morden died in the suicide mission, and then later on having Rex come and confront you and having to kill Rex. How about that? I felt bad when I had to kill Rex.
You had to kill Rex?
Yeah, if you agree to the Solarian Counselor's little plan and sabotage the genophage, later on Rex finds out and he comes back and attacks you at the Citadel, and you have to kill him. If you don't kill him, C-Sec kills him, and you lose support of Clan Erdnot. I was pissed. I was like, oh, I loved Rex, but I betrayed him anyway, but I still loved him. Pissed.
Hope that's not how you treat your girlfriend.
Your real friend?
Bro, what they don't know is supposed to touch them.
Right.
Rex found out.
Well, that's, bogus. Quarians do, and I think the Quarians deserve to die.
Well, Quarians don't learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, that's right, and they're the reasons that we're at war with the synthetics in Mass Effect, the Mass Effect universe. The rest of us could get along with them, but not the Quarians. The Quarians had to go, and I was also disappointed that we never actually got to see, after all the promises, we never really got to see Tally's face.
Well,
Right, we just
yeah,
got
there
that stock
was actually
picture.
a little scene. There was a little scene where you could look at a quick glance of a.
Do you happen to quick glance the photo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
okay,
stock
that's
footage.
enough said on that nonsense.
Well, I mean, maybe we're being too harsh on Bioware. I mean,
No.
red ending, green ending, and blue ending were pretty cool, right?
You know what would really suck? Here, this is completely related. What would really suck is, what if the person that was playing Mass Effect 3 was colorblind?
Then they'd only get one ending.
You can't
Exactly.
tell which one it was. You'd still see Joker fleeing in terror at the helm of the Normandy, and still grain and on a you would still crash land, and that's really terrible. That's horrifying to me.
I think a major flaw.
What, knowing that someone
So
could
you'd
only
only
get one ending?
Well, a major flaw is
Like it wasn't already bad
a
enough.
major flaw in the ending is that people have come to be really invested in this. And they want to see what happens to all these races and what all their actions. You're fixing all these these age-old problems between these species.
Mhm.
Then the Mass Effect relays get blown up, for which the whole that's the whole name of the series.
Mhm.
Now they can't ever travel back and forth. I mean, what does it
Well, no,
matter?
that's not true. That is not
It
true.
would just
They
take
can't
much
move as
longer.
fast.
It'll take further. It'll take centuries. if
No,
somebody-
they have faster than light capability.
Yeah, but doesn't it still take centuries to go from
No,
place to
they
place?
can
Not
jump. That's why
centuries.
they could jump. They could jump. It just takes like a week instead of instantaneously.
Oh,
They
are
can
you
still
sure?
jump. Yeah, that's how they can go from system to system. And they're not using Mass Effect relays to travel from system to system.
Well, from system to system, but I mean, we're talking galactic distances here between some of these systems. The
Well-
whole
Okay,
galaxy.
yes, then those it'll take years upon years to get to, but the ones that are extremely close, it could take a month to a year or whatever, as opposed to
Yeah.
I mean, are all these fleets and armadas all around the Earth now? Are they going to have enough supplies to last, half a year as they travel back home?
Not our problem.
Well, it is.
That's what
since it's one of
BioWare
our
is
friends.
telling everybody. Not your problem. Don't worry about it. Everybody, and I'm still haven't gotten over the fact that they blew up the Mass Effect relays and sterilized every planetary system that had a Mass Effect relay in it.
Well, even if they didn't, the Krogan would probably just eat everybody.
Oh, unless you did what I did and stop the genophage cure.
Well, that's great.
Well, then you'd have a bunch of whiny Solarians. That
No, they're all
much
dead too
better.
because their Mass Effect relay blew up. Remember, Mass Effect relay blowing up means death.
Nah, they're just totally benign explosions that you can see from outside the galaxy.
Yeah,
Didn't hurt a fly.
yeah.
It will be interesting to see BioWare explain that away.
Well,
They won't.
they can't.
They will.
They
They will.
can't.
Trust
Oh, I'm
me,
sure they.
will. They're
I'm
going
sure
to.
they will. And you know what? It's going to be another bull. Well, I'm watching my language. I promised. It's another. No, it's not even BS. It's worse than BS. Total and complete malarkey.
I still think that they're going to have they're going to have come a big statement either the end of this week or the following week. They're going to say something. They have to. There's too much bad press. They're taking an ass kicking right now. Sorry, but they are.
Well,
really
and
are.
they can continue to take one as far as I'm concerned. As a matter of fact, if they'll like to bend over in front of me, I will kick their ass for the next 3 months, just for the sheer joy of doing it.
Well, right, but they're gonna want. They don't want that as a company. If you were working for that company, you wouldn't want that bad PR.
Well, then
Do it.
why did they just
Because
release
I
the
think
game
they
like
still
it
have an
did?
ace up their sleeve. I think that it's something that we're not seeing.
I
yet.
think you're giving these people way too much credit.
Well,
After what happened on the BioWare forums, I think you are giving them far too much credit.
He's a true believer.
I understand that, and I feel
Holding the
I
line.
don't
Hold the line.
I feel his pain, and I don't want I'll be there for you when it turns out that it's a horrible lie.
I'll
you
be
know,
there for you.
I'm telling you, Mike, these people are they're corporate now. This is not the little BioWare company that used to turn out great games. This is something different. And this is a bunch of people that just don't give a damn about what their fans. They think will buy any pap they put out.
Yeah, and it was definitely something Taylor was referring to. Like we've been talking about this for a while. Is the whole culture attitude around Bioware has completely changed. I mean, even though I haven't seemed to think that their community's been decent for 5-6 years now. I thought it was always been kind of shit.
Biodrones.
But yeah, I mean, but they have a serious cultural issue here in terms of their PR and I mean, if you can't just when you're developing something, just say one thing and then just lie to the face of your fans. That's
the DLC lie should have been everybody's clue.
Yeah,
that should have been everybody's clue. This is the way they think, and I'm sorry that kind of thinking is going to get them into bankruptcy.
No, they'll just fire everyone and restructure the studio. I mean, how much did EA plummet on Bioware to? I mean, they're not going to shut the studio down, but they'll restructure.
That restructure has really worked for a lot of teams. Bethesda pulled it off, but I don't think Bioware is going to be able to do it.
Yeah, well,
the worst thing that could have happened to Bioware was allowing themselves to be acquired by EA, because EA has always had a reputation for gobbling up companies and spitting them out.
Kind of like Atari.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they tried to rectify that with their indie kind of EA label and everything, where they just, where they were just publishing and not, pretty much cannibalizing these poor companies. But they've kind of gone back to their old ways.
Well, I would like to say that, however, that a lot of the companies that Atari bought up have fought free of them. And here's a hope that some of these companies can get away from EA. That's one can hope.
EA has some very bad practices going on right now.
I think that's putting it mildly.
Right, you can see with Dead Space and Mass Effect, just they're having these developers put in multiplayer aspects into the game that even if it turns out okay, they're frankly just not necessary. Just so they can charge for the online pass that comes with
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's another thing that was, I don't like multiplayer all that much. I'm basically the old school gamer. I don't want to play with any of you people. That's not true, but I don't want to be playing with a bunch of 14-year-olds. Okay.
Oh, I get
right,
that.
neither do we. I don't think we do.
Yeah,
either.
and the multiplayer aspect of Mass Effect 3 is actually kind of fun. I actually enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the demo. I found it surprisingly challenging at first, too, when you first start out.
Yeah, I watched Rob die multiple times, and it was fun to watch. I was sitting there, making comments behind him, and he was making faces at me.
That's true, but once I got my Vanguard up, I was doing some damage.
Once you start getting your abilities and you start getting when you start unlocking weapons and things, mods to your weapons and stuff, then you're on a roll.
So, I mean, do we have any closing comments about this? I mean, we could really go on for
we should just go around the table and ask everyone to describe Mass Effect 3's ending in one word.
Oh, this again?
Mike's please no.
I cannot use the word colorful.
Oh, that's my old response.
Okay, fine, do it.
All right, should I start then?
Yes, please.
What do you mean?
You stole his thunder.
You stole mine because I had this response. I was going to say colorful. But, yeah,
no, you used colorful already. You can't use that one again.
Nebulous.
That's a good one.
All right, Mike, your turn.
Deceptive.
Ooh, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Betrayal.
That's another good one.
No, I think I'd go with solid.
What?
No,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid game. I mean,
no, no.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, Rob? You're on the podcast.
Yeah, you don't use that word.
Solid what? Solid game or solid ending?
Solid. solid.
The only thing that's solid is your head.
Honestly, though, the game in whole is solid.
I think a better word would be thick, right?
You thick
God.
bastard.
All right, let's get off Mass Effect before I start getting mad.
Okay.
I think we wanted to kind of go into recently Assassin's Creed 3 was announced. American Revolution pretty much. Wanted to get your guys' thoughts on
Thank God is my thoughts. I mean,
Can I say something real quick? Because I'm not a real Assassin's Creed.
yeah.
I'm not a real fan. I mean, I'll play the game, but it bores me after about 10 minutes. Okay, I hate the game. All right, but one of the big things for Assassin's Creed is you could climb up buildings and everything. I hate to point this out, but revolutionary America.
Yeah, there's no really tall buildings.
There was no buildings to jump out on. Are you going to jump out from behind trees and stab people in the neck?
No.
Yeah.
I have to correct you that New York at the time and Boston were quite large cities with 20,000 plus people and a lot of space.
I'm not debating the fact that they had fairly good sized populations. I'm saying that you weren't climbing up the top of 13-story walls and jumping off on people to stab them in the neck. You're not.
Yes.
So
But they had good 3-4 story tall buildings, church steeples, and they are actually working in. You can now climb up extremely tall trees in the forest and pretty much jump between trees and things like that, hunting British soldiers in the forest and climbing mountains and all kinds of stuff like that. So they do have verticality still.
okay.
And honestly, I think that kind of change to the series is totally welcome. Like, I didn't really get into the series until Brotherhood. And so for me, I think, and I haven't even played the series that long, so I think a change to the American Revolution is really quite cool. I think that'll do wonders for the series. Fagin over here is just.
Well, it's one of those things. It really isn't to everyone's taste, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm just kind of hard to please as a gamer. I'm old school, and I want a story. And yes, Assassin's Creed has a story.
Something.
I like the story a lot with all of its conspiracy angles, and I think it's very interesting.
But I think if you're going to have the Illuminati and all that crap in a game,
The Templars. Yeah.
I'm waiting for Secret World. That's the game I'm looking forward to.
That game looks like shit.
Dude, you know what site you're doing a podcast for right now, right?
No, I know. I like the concept of that game.
Mhm.
Like all this shit that's like all this paranormal shit's true, but the game itself looks like shit.
I
I'm not saying
understand.
the concept is cool. I like the concept.
Well, I think the Illuminati meets Cthulhu. I think that is a cool concept idea.
I think it's cool too. I just wish they had better graphics and the gameplay look. If the gameplay looked better,
Well, I agree. And what the gameplay looks like, it looks, like Wasteland, or not Wasteland.
Yeah.
What's that game that Independence did that's in the Grand Canyon, the MMO? It'll come to me eventually. They kind of look like that.
Yeah, I think the issue with the Secret World is people say, "Oh, the graphics aren't that great," or I think the gameplay looks really fun. But the issue with Funcom and the Secret World is Funcom made the mistake of making Age of Conan or the Conan MMO or whatever it was, a very graphic-intensive MMO, which came back to really bite them in the ass. Exactly. There were people that wanted to play that game, and then eventually it goes free to play. So I think that lowering the graphics, even if it's not like the most graphic-intensive game, lowering the graphic settings or whatever, the graphical requirements is really going to give them a bigger audience. And I think they're competent developers. The Conan MMO wasn't horrible. It was pretty decent.
Well, that's a trade-off that every developer has to make, even with MMOs and even with some open world games, is that when you're increasing, world size and stuff like that, you have a lot of trouble with rendering and with an MMO, especially when you want to hit a broad appeal and you want a lot of people with medium range, even low range computers to be able to play your MMO and subscribe, you tend to go towards the lower end of the graphical spectrum so that you can get the best performance out of the experience.
Have you seen that much for it, Mike?
I haven't seen anything recently, but I saw stuff like maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I saw some videos on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's gonna be pretty good. I think that they'll pull it out. That's my personal opinion, at least on the Secret World.
I feel personally that MMOs are still a pretty untapped market on the console. That it could still be a thing in the future, especially if the next generation of consoles include mouse and keyboard support, which frankly every single one of them should.
Well, they do
Certain
for
games.
certain instances. Yeah, we had like what Final Fantasy. The Final Fantasy MMO for the Xbox.
I think the only one that came out to console so far was the one for the PS2, and it might have come out for Xbox also.
It came out for Xbox 360,
Did it?
I believe, too. Also.
Didn't the latest one actually was supposed to be released, but then they actually halted the console release because it was doing so bad on PC?
Yeah, 14, I believe.
Yeah, that's fucking disaster. It's still mostly free to play. Like the people are still playing it for nothing because it's so bad right now.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's MMOs. I mean, they full well know that they're probably never going to be able to compete with WoW. Yet they turn out these products. I mean, frankly, the only MMO that I really am interested in is Guild Wars, and I think Guild Wars 2 is going to be really good.
I think it's also a fantastic idea that you just pay an entry fee and then you don't have to subscribe.
And then they actually use the old concept of expansion packs. Yeah. Oh dear, like.
Plus, to be honest, the graphics are gorgeous on that MMO.
Yeah. I know Fagan over here isn't a fan of Guild Wars.
I am not a fan of Guild Wars. Never have been.
He's a surly gamer.
No, I like beating things up, and I don't like WoW. There's too many WoW players.
There's too many of them.
That is what happens when it's the largest MMO. There are a lot of players.
I like some of the smaller MMOs, and there have been a few that have disappointed me greatly in the last year. Champions. The name who should not be named. Then I still play City of Heroes. I love City of Heroes. So.
Would you say that's your biggest disappointment in gaming in like the last year or two?
Champions, yeah. Oh God, yes. I think what they did to the fan base there, and that's another reason that I despise Cryptic. Anything they do, I don't care what it is. I don't care how good it is. I don't care if people are raving how wonderful. I will never give them another dime because of what they did to their fan base in that game.
Hey, Mike, do you have like a big gaming disappointment in the last year or two that just really broke your heart?
Big gaming disappointment in the last year or two? No, not really. I've been pretty content with my video games. I don't know. Maybe Deus Ex could have been more than I hoped it to be. I don't know.
What were some of your problems with it?
Huh.
What were my problems with it? Well, I liked it a lot. I thought it was way better than Invisible War. I don't know if you guys played that one.
It doesn't take much to be better than Invisible War.
Right. So Invisible War, it was way better than that big time. But I just felt like, you could do a lot of stuff different each time, and you could have, there's a lot of different pathways you could take. But the ending, like there was 3 different endings, and they were all exactly the same for the most part. You just got different dialogue.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that really does sound familiar.
Very familiar, right? Yeah. But I don't know. There just could have been more to it. Like I wanted more open world. Like there was the 2 big areas, but like you only got to go to them like twice or whatever. And so if you miss doing something there, you'd have to replay the whole game to go back to it.
Yeah, I've never liked that kind of thing.
Like I mean, I still thought it was a great game. I'll recommend it to people, but it could have been better. It could have been so much more, in my opinion.
Especially now when it has a pretty good price point now in stores too. Like $22, $25 I've seen it. So people who held off on it, it wouldn't be a bad time to pick it up.
Yeah, definitely not.
How about you, Rob? Is there anything lately that's broke your heart?
Broke my heart?
Your gamer heart. Your tiny black gamer heart.
I don't know. I mean, name some stuff that's come out. I mean,
it's all a blur for me.
If it's kind of what it seems like, I mean, I really liked Deus Ex. I did expect a little bit more, but I wouldn't say that disappointed me. I mean, I enjoyed it. especially some of the stuff that you could do in that game as far as choice, I think was pretty underrated. I can tell you games that I really enjoyed.
That's not the same as
That,
disappointment.
No, you didn't do disappointed. There have been a couple of games that disappointed you.
Like what?
Tails.
Binary Domain.
Well, Binary Domain, I expected it to
But
be
that's
shit in the
that's not
beginning.
gonna break his heart when he's ready for it to happen.
I mean, what's...
Well, for me, Killzone 3 destroyed my heart for a while.
Yeah, that was definitely...
They,
That's got to be at the top of my
They-
list.
it
I was
has-
thinking about some of the shooters that you got really upset about.
It-
What the
it-
hell is this? I can throw a grenade all the way across the screen and take somebody out. What the hell?
I can. The graphics in Killzone 3 are somehow worse than Killzone 2. The gameplay is worse. The classes are unbalanced. They pretty much, I hate to say it, they consoleized the server browser. They just took it out and put in straight matchmaking. So now you can't make your own lobbies with your own unique rules like you used to be able to. They just pretty much ripped everything apart and took a big piss all over their community. So yeah.
Yeah.
We got some non-gamer news to put out. The paranoid and conspiracy theory out
Okay.
portion of the
So,
show.
We'll discuss that a little bit later.
Oh,
So, I would say that at least on the positive side, I mean, I don't want to be a negative Nancy the whole entire podcast, but I really enjoyed Kingdoms of Amalur a lot.
Fantastic game.
I thought that was a really good RPG.
And I didn't think I would. That actually has been my favorite game so far this year.
Really?
And I said that I thought it would be
And
better
it
than
is.
Mass Effect 3. And I think it is. I really do. I truly believe that it was going to be better than Mass
I
Effect 3.
hate, I
you know.
hate to be that guy, and I'm going to be that guy just now and say that when I played the demo, I didn't like the cartoony art style.
I agree with that too. I don't like that.
I'm so sorry. to
It
be
was
that
very
guy.
Fable. It's the game that Fable wanted to be.
Yeah, I agree. I'll agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
It really
it
is.
actually is the game that Fable wanted to be. It has a massive amount of replayability. And the side missions, the side quests are a lot of fun. They don't take that long. They're a lot of fun to play. And I got to tell you, I'm not a big fantasy gamer that way. And I really enjoyed that game. I really enjoyed it. It was a well put together product. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't buggy. You didn't have to worry about the bugs.
Now on the
that
other
you get in
hand,
Skyrim.
to take
either.
something a little away from that game, it is a button masher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a button masher. I don't care.
You know,
I
You
don't
can
care.
say that you can probably
is-
play it.
it
that
is in the
way
beginning.
if you
Yeah.
want to play.
Yeah,
And
it-
most gamers will just play whatever's the easiest way to play through.
Yeah, it certainly is in the beginning. I would agree that it's a button masher, but the combat, I think one of its greatest strengths is the combat over
Yes, it
time
does.
really opens up more than most of the games in the genre does. So, in terms of combat, the story, I thought the story was decent. Wasn't anything super good. I mean, the whole concept of fate interweaving with the whole universe and land or whatnot was really interesting. I think they could have did a little bit more with it, but it was solid. It certainly opened up good possibilities for a sequel if they decided.
I
to do
hate to
that.
come back with negative Nanciness because I'm trying to think of games I really liked, and I'm struck by a sudden realization that I've been extremely disappointed the last year that a lot of things I was looking forward to ended up being plagued with a sense of mediocrity. And whether it was, I had a ton of fun with Battlefield 3, and then I realized all the little things that are wrong with it that pile up to be a big thing, all the things that they could have done better. And same thing with, Twisted Metal. There are a lot of little nagging things.
How about Twisted
A lot of
Metal?
big things
just
for
was
Twisted Metal.
absolute garbage.
I don't agree with that, but
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of content, a lot of really positive things for it, but it did not start off
And,
well at all.
I think the only thing that
Certainly
really
good.
even with Skyrim, I really enjoyed Skyrim for the most part, but they're just the bugs, and the performance on the PS3. It's just unacceptable, especially since it pretty much came out through the media that they knew there were problems with the PSP version, and they just assumed they'd fix it later, and that's fucking garbage.
Mhm.
But I think the only thing that really, that I played all last year that really made me feel like a gamer, that really just made me happy, was Dark Souls, and it was probably the most punishing game I played all year, and it was fantastic.
I'm sorry. I it was okay.
Oh, it's personal taste kind of thing.
Yeah,
I really liked Dark Souls a lot.
Yeah, he did, and he spent a
I was
lot
too
of
busy
time
weeping in the
It
corner.
just made it even funnier for me. So,
I personally found the game to be fairly easy, but
so did my youngest son.
it's a game series that requires you to have a different mindset and sort of a carefulness.
And be coordinated.
Yeah.
It's nothing against you, Rob.
Except it certainly is something against me. Oh man. So I mean, what's coming up that you guys are looking forward to? I mean, I think after Mass Effect 3, you're pretty
No,
much
I'm actually going
done
to be looking
for
at
the
some of
rest
the
year.
MMOs that are coming out.
And he already said he was pretty interested in interaction with Dust
Secret
in
World.
Dust 514.
Yeah,
and Eve.
and I'm looking forward to. I'll take the Eve part if some people want to do the.
I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah, start a guild, start a corporation, and just go for the gusto with mercs. I think that would just be an absolute hoot. Because I'll tell you right now, while I wouldn't use Rob in a first person shooter or a third person shooter or any type of thing to make me money, I would use his brother to do it, who is one of the most vicious people in a shooter you have ever met in your life, and can not only that but make people cry while he's poning them. So
I've gotten so much hate mail you wouldn't believe it.
yeah, Josh started off in Halo and has progressed into other things where he's just an evil person. So I'll put him as in charge of my mercenary group to make me ISK.
I'll be the support gunner on the ship, right?
You can handle communications.
job?
You should never play to just win. You should play to crush them as much as possible.
I'm a firm believer if you're going to play a game that way, that you need to have the Conan, the Conan theory of management.
Conan, what is best in life?
Yes, crush your enemies, drive them before you, and hear the lamentations of their women.
The lamentations of their women in the background.
Yeah.
Honey, come to bed.
You're not lamentating. Neither are you.
I'm looking forward to as a massive mech game fan for pretty much my entire life. As long as I've been able to play games, I'm looking forward to Armored Core coming out this Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to Darksiders 2 a lot.
Armored Core is coming out this Tuesday.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fantastic, I think.
Oh, see, now I'm a big hardcore killer mech for you. I loved Chrome Hounds, where a lot
Chrome
of
Hound's fantastic. It's made by the same people.
Oh, I'm there. How much money do I got to have for that one, there, son?
$60.
And it's both Xbox and PS3.
Xbox and PS3, and it has this, Chrome Hounds, the sort of the ongoing persistent world with the wars and capturing territory and everything.
Well, I don't want to be, rude or anything and offend anybody, but that's just got me all, bothered now. It has that aspect in it. Oh, I can't wait. Hey, today was payday. Life is good.
Yeah, you actually can capture territory with a team, and you then actually have the ability to use money to then buy your own fortifications to defend it while you're gone. And you can share. There's a ton of emblem creators, paint jobs, hundreds and hundreds of parts. It has a slightly faster gameplay overall than Chrome Hounds, but you can make a decked out super heavy tank and just roll around blasting the shit out of people while barely moving, which is a perfectly acceptable play style.
That was my question. Was going to be, are all the mechs like super fast, like skirting around Gundam style, or
It's actually a lot slower than the last Armored Core games. They actually cut down the size of the mechs by about half because they wanted you to be able to feel more immersed in the environment. They wanted to do more city environments and stuff without just having you walk right through warehouses and things. So they cut down the size of the mechs. The gameplay is a bit slower, and you can't just boost around endlessly unless you have an extremely, extremely tiny mech that can barely take a hit or two without dying. And it has a story missions, about 10 main story missions with about 80 side missions, all of which you can play in co-op online with your friends.
that's cool.
There are even moments where
God.
these massive bosses, like just massive, like skyscraper-sized bosses, will attack your territories that your team owns, and your team will have to sortie and take care of them or face like losing money and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
I
They may
just
never
made
get
someone's
me
day.
off. They may never get me off. If it's even half as good as much fun as I had in Chrome Hounds, because that was the only game that I would play for a long time. Matter of fact, I used to piss the kids off because I was actually better at it than they were.
I'm getting it for the PS3, so
Well, I survived.
I'll
I hope
pick it up for the PS3. So
It's good. I hope it's good. I've been looking for a mech game for a long time.
if you need someone to play with on PS3, just let me know. I don't know
Well,
if you're going to get
I may
360
do
or not.
it on my Xbox because I have some friends on Xbox who would be more than happy to hook up for me from the old Chrome Hounds days on that.
And there are pre-order bonuses for it, but from what I've heard, apparently, like what you do is like you pre-order from GameStop, you get a whole bunch of parts and things. They're all already in the game, meaning like it's just an early unlock. You get access to stuff a bit sooner, but you can earn all of it by just playing too.
Okay.
I am honestly thinking about not using the code because I'd rather just earn it myself.
All right.
Yeah. I hope it's good. I've been looking for a good mech game for a long time now.
You can even customize your garage so that your mech is like posed in different locations and shit like that when you're building it and all that kind of. It's crazy, really.
How in depth is like the parts and like all the different upgrades that you can add to it? How in depth?
Yeah, 'cause if you didn't have armor in the right spots in Chrome Hounds, you were toast.
It
Well,
makes
no, like,
Chrome-
is it to the extent of like customizing your car engine in like Forza or something like that?
Oh,
like,
it's
really...
actually it's more than that. You can customize the head, the arms. You have 4 weapon slots, legs, core, generators, boosters, FCS, shoulder weapons, and just there's everything you can customize pretty much. And all your weapons, when you buy them at the store, you decide sort of an upgrade path. So pretty much as you play online, your weapons have a chance to just get better on their own. So you like decide, I just bought this machine gun, and I've decided that I want it to grow naturally along a path of having a faster fire rate and faster reload time. So it just as you just play online and stuff, it'll just naturally get better in those respects as you play along. So even with people who have the same weapons as you, they may behave a little differently. It's just endless customization practically.
Okay, that's cool. What is the multiplayer? Is it like 5-on-5, 10-on-10? What is it?
It is 5-on-5. It is 5-on-5. 4 players versus 4 players in mechs, and 1 player on each team plays as the operator who has an overhead map view of the entire map and can place down objectives and lead the team to the objectives and pretty much coordinate them against the enemy.
Okay, that's cool.
You can also, if you're not in the mood for that, you can and you don't like have a team, you can also do mercenary matches where you put yourself up pretty much and people will purchase your talents and have you just fight for them in battles. You can also just do 1v1 battles and also pretty much like grand melees where it's like 8 people just beating it out of each other at the same time. And so there's lots of options for whatever you want to do. Co-op as well.
Nice.
And there's half of the podcast on Armored Core.
No, we bitched about Bioware for twice as long as that.
That's true. That's true. I do want to cover some of the other topics that the site does, particularly the paranormal and conspiracy type stuff. I wanted to get you guys' views on And specifically on the paranormal side of stuff, where do you guys sit on that? I mean, are you guys believers? Are you skeptics? Or
I'm a skeptic who leans towards really the Mulder kind of side of most of the way. I really would like to believe in this stuff. I find the idea of it very interesting, and I've always taken a bit of a passion in learning about the different cases and reading up on them and stuff. But I always lead towards the skeptical point of view of, just being very objective about evidence and really liking those more firmly established cases than just someone who probably saw a crane eyes glowing in the woods, That's just how I am natural myself.
what about you, Mike?
Well, I mean, I definitely believe in like extraterrestrials and stuff like that, but as far as the paranormal side, I'm like Taylor. I'd like to believe it, but I'm very objective when it comes to the evidence, because it would be nice if it was real, but
Exactly.
I don't know, but so yeah, I'm gonna go with Taylor on that one.
Well, let me explain something about Maine. All right. I know why Stephen King writes about Maine. I lived there for 3 years. And, yeah. There's a reason he writes about creepy people in Maine, because they're creepy, especially the northern part of the state.
I want to go see the northern part of Maine.
Because I was stationed up there for 3 years.
During the war.
How about you, Robert?
I'm really kind of got on your guys' side about the whole paranormal stuff. I haven't had any experiences that would lead me to believe in, paranormal phenomenon, so I'm very skeptical.
I would love to have one. I mean, like, as long as it doesn't involve, like, getting my skin flayed off or something, like...
Or possessed or something,
but I'm very interested in having such an experience, like, because I think that would be what I would really need to...
Well, here, let me give you a suggestion on having one, and then you won't want to have one again. Go draw a pentagram and try to summon a ghost.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
And the landlord will be angry at me for drawing a wall.
I did. It was a bad idea.
I did the Bloody Mary thing. Nothing really happened with that.
No, this was not Bloody Mary. This was we went and found a book and tried to do something, and I have never played with it since.
Which is partially part of the story.
Tell the story. I'm
not telling the story.
We'd have to send him $50 for his story DLC.
Bring up that
We were playing around. Okay, I'm going to give the abridged version. We were playing around because we were bored, young, and stupid one night. And we decided to. There had been a murder supposedly on the base that I was stationed at back in the '60s, and we decided there had been sightings of this ghost, quote unquote. So we decided we were going to summon the ghost. A seance.
Okay.
Better yet, the doofus that I was with had been doing some reading, and he decided that we were going to catch a ghost. This is back before Ghostbusters or anything like that.
Okay.
And we were going to capture the ghost, and we were going to trap it in a pentagram. But not the fake kind of pentagram that you see, the real kind with the runes and everything else on the sign. He had drawn it out and brought it with us at work.
Okay.
So we summoned the thing, and while we're sitting there, the kind unit came up, sat next to us, and... he's going through this elaborate ceremony, and I'm sitting next to him, and the canine unit's sitting next to us, and the dog alerts. Now, if you've ever seen a military dog alert, their ears perk up, and they stare at whatever they're looking at, and the dog starts to whine. All right? And we're looking at where this dog is looking, and we're not seeing anything. And then the dog starts to scream. Have you ever heard a 120-pound German Shepherd scream?
No, I can't say I have.
It's one of the most frightening things. It's kind of like a whine and a howl at the same time. That dog tried to go through a window to get away from whatever was coming toward us. And he was watching it come up the ramp where we were. And I looked at the guy who's doing this, and I said, this would probably be a good idea to stop this now. And he says, yeah, you're right. So he took the thing that he'd drawn out on this piece of paper, and he crumpled up, and he tossed it. All right?
Okay.
And we drove away from the place where we were, and the canine unit followed us up, and we sat up at the top of the hill, about a quarter mile away from where we were. And we're starting to talking about that, and we kind of discussed what was going on. and went, "Oh, that was probably bullshit. We just scared ourselves." And the dog alerted again, and started doing the same thing, and was cringed up on top of his handler, as far away from our side of the truck as he could get. And he's looking at something, and we look down the ramp, and we see this white thing. It looks like a little dust devil coming up the ramp through the snow. And I went, well, this is a bit peculiar, and there's something bouncing around. The dog is just complete, and the dog almost goes catatonic. He just lays there, and his eyes are all wide, and he's panting, and he's not doing anything, and he's climbed up on top of the guy. And this little dust devil comes up to our truck and stops on our truck and drops something on our hood. And it was the pentagram that he'd torn up and tossed out the window, right on the hood of our truck.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, never again.
And that's not even the only occurrence
I
that
have an
happened to
interesting
him.
question though. Like,
Yeah.
even though that happened, and you would never want to repeat that again, are you still almost glad that you had that experience, that you were able to see proof of such things?
No. No, because that, fooling around and, because you're bored is one thing. Finding out what you're bored about, or finding out that this stuff actually happens, is not something you really want to find out at the age of 21.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
Then why do we should shut down the site then?
Oh, I've concentrated my area of expertise in other areas. With age comes wisdom, or so they say.
With age comes senility.
No, not yet.
Not yet. I actually hear video games are very good for stimulating the brain, actually helping out with that when you get older and older. That's what I've heard.
Paranormal stuff. We told our story. Now move on to the next topic. You had one more.
Which was what?
Yeah, and there's one that just popped up.
What, the Coney thing?
No, not Coney. Apparently, the Security Cabinet of Israel has voted that they will attack Iran when and where they choose. 8 ministers, 6 against it, and they will not advise the U.S. when they're going to do it.
I don't know if that's a conspiracy more so as it's a fact.
You don't think there's a conspiracy to drum up support for a war against Iran? Because
yes, definitely.
We just want their oil.
But
that's it.
No, there's definitely, I mean, the news is very propagandized these days about Iran, big time. All you got to do is turn on any of the major media stations, and they'll all be saying the same thing: Iran is bad.
Does anyone realize that Iran doesn't have the capability to project power outside its own borders? That the war between Iraq and Iran happened in Iran because Iraq attacked them. They didn't attack Iran. Iran didn't attack Iraq. Iraq Iran.
Yeah, with the weapons we were giving them.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, but majority of people don't know these things.
I understand that.
People don't know their own history, dude.
Well, yeah.
Everyone knows peak oil is coming. The government knows peak oil is coming. The FBI has had documents.
Well, I wouldn't say everyone knows.
Nobody believes that. And
everyone.
look at what it had. See, I changed all my habits after the BP. That was my wake up call to peak oil. If we're drilling that far down, and we can't cap the mess, and I don't care what BP is telling everybody, there is still an oil slick out there from that. There have been too many independent observers out there saying there is still oil coming up.
Well, I don't know. They're really friendly looking commercials, kind of. They really got it under control. It looks like.
Come to the natural tourist attraction in the Gulf.
We're sorry.
We're sorry that we've ruined your environment for the next 55 years or more.
No biggie.
Yeah, we've poisoned the shrimp. We've destroyed the shrimp industry. No biggie.
Well, the government knows peak oil is coming, and it knows that it has to get ahead of the curve right now and secure more oil. So going to war with Iran is going to be what's going to be necessary to secure America's place in the future.
Why are we not putting the money out to explore alternative forms of energy because they're out there. And I'm not talking about wind power, solar power. They're going to pay their part. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a raving environmentalist. I think we should be good stewards of what we have now. All right, but there are other forms of energy. Has anybody thought about using thorium reactors like they do in South Africa? Those things are a hell of a lot safer than the ones we use for nuke power.
Well, I'm sure they've thought about it. They just don't want to do it.
Oh, a problem with reactors in general is that they take a huge amount of oil to make in the first place. I mean, they take a huge amount of power, machinery, plans, money, and all power pretty much is oil power. Every piece of machinery.
Okay, then go to natural gas turbines because, frankly, they are highly fuel efficient, especially the third and fourth generation ones that we're using now. Mm-hmm. They're highly fuel efficient, and we have 350 years of natural gas right now. That's without even doing any more exploration. We could be giving natural gas to the entire planet.
What a lot of people don't realize.
States.
Yeah, but that's a very destructive process, fracking.
Fracking is it, but not all of it. Not all of it is available to frack. We still have a lot of natural gas that you don't have to frack to get.
Well, what a lot of people
oil
don't realize.
well in Pennsylvania, you can drill down and hit natural gas.
Yeah, but they do a lot of fracking in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is that most means of alternative energy are really just red herrings that are just to give people the sense that they'll come up with this or that, and like most of this stuff is just not viable on a large enough scale. I mean, ethanol is a fucking joke.
No, that's a ridiculous. And the fact that your fuel efficiency goes down when you use ethanol is
you use more energy to make it than you get out of it. You have a net loss.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous. But I mean, they know peak oil is coming, and to secure America's place in the future, they want to go after Iran. And frankly, as you're saying, so the government
there are some people
in all this infrastructure for this alternative energy.
I'm afraid that there are two countries that are not going to allow us to do that.
Which are
China and Russia.
China and Russia, yeah.
They basically told the U.S. and I have a real bad feeling if the Israelis do this. It's what a horrible idea. It's an absolutely horrible idea because they're going to try to drag us into their war to pick them up, and
well, they've always used us.
Well, like guess who's getting drafted?
It's not me.
everyone signs up for selective service.
We're the prime age, Rob. We're the prime age. You're 23, I'm 22, man.
I know, man.
What I was trying to say is the idea in America of putting this much money and effort into the infrastructure required for this various types of energy and alternative energy is not nearly as... I mean, it's a lot more difficult to do all that infrastructure work than it is to throw a bunch of young men into bullets to get what you need.
Oh, I agree. And unfortunately, yeah, I know.
Everyone,
way to end everything on a depressing note.
I'm sorry. This next year, we're not going to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya. We got a lot of bad. The economy, the lies that people are being fed through the numbers right now,
and they happily eat it up.
And they're eating it up, and they're actually believing it. All you have to do is watch CNBC and watch the lies for the financial markets. Good Lord.
It's on a minute-to-minute basis how much they lie.
People sitting up there talking about there's no inflation. Gas out there is $4.19. And food has gone up an outrageous amount of money. We're talking 12 to 18% on some items in the last year. Tell that to your average consumer that there's no inflation.
Well, everything we grow, there's so many bits of hydrocarbon energy in every little calorie of grown food. It's ridiculous. The pesticides we use are made out of petroleum. The fertilizer we use is made out of petroleum. It's all derivative. are derivatives of all these. It's fucking it's insane.
Anything plastic is made out of petroleum.
Yeah, the oil you use for all these vehicles to till, plant, and seed, and the ground now is just the soil is just destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason anything grows in it now is just because they pump so much fertilizer into everything.
Mm-hmm.
They have no crop rotation. They have no.
They still do crop rotation.
Not properly. They're just the ground is nothing more than a sponge now. It's
Dude,
not.
I know
soil.
a bunch of farmers. They still do crop rotation the right way, Justin.
Some of them.
You can't generalize like that. Come on. You want to sound like a credible source person here. You don't want to just generalize every farmer saying they don't know how to farm anymore. Come on.
I know farmers too.
Yeah, but Monsanto is not making
Right,
it
Monsanto, yeah,
easy
that's
on
like
them.
Bill Gates' GMO corporation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feeding us, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ugh, man, now I'm all
Told
depressed.
you would be.
Well, I mean,
But,
all these people that are screwing over the economy and ranking up money. I mean, it's not going to mean anything when you're rolling in a wheelbarrow of money just to buy a loaf of bread.
Oh, really?
It's not going to be
I bet you we're eating.
like Germany. It's not going to be like that.
I'll bet you I'll be eating.
Yeah, because you're prepared. But these people
yeah.
who are
And
just scamming the economy, what are they going to do when everything comes crashing down?
well, they're not going to do anything. That's the problem. Uh,
They're going to be put to work camps.
mhm. Well, yeah.
FEMA camp.
There's a whole
nother
nother podcast and a whole nother set of depressions.
All right, I'm done.
You're done? Or what do you guys think? You guys
Oh,
think that's it
Our
for-
happy note.
You're a happy
I
note.
guess
Let's,
that sounds good.
Play some happy
paranoia.
music after this. To
yeah, the
get everyone
paranoia.
stirred
This would be a good time for the Kinks paranoia.
up.
Yeah.
A little
Muse.
bit Muse.
Okay, wait, but here's one more question since we're all on the Paranoid Gaming website.
Mhm.
Does anyone think the world's going to end at the end of this year?
You know
No.
what? There are so many black swans out there that are potentials for world-ending catastrophe. There is,
Catastrophe.
you know, you could look by because I'm a firm believer that we are not in a global warming phase.
We're in a global cooling phase since
I
1998.
believe we're in the start of another ice age, and the reason I say that, it was 5 degrees warmer in the Middle Ages, and they
Yeah.
were burning a lot of hydrocarbons back then.
Yeah.
They had cars everywhere.
Right.
And I think the disservice and the global depopulation of that Al Gore and his bunch are doing on junk science, they should be strung up for. They literally should be strung up for, because if anybody who went through last winter knows, we didn't have a spring this year or the last year. We did not have it. We went from winter here in Oregon. We went from winter to midsummer in the space of about a week and a half.
Dude, we're over here in New York. We're going from fall into summer right now.
I know.
Dude.
I know.
We have it has not snowed once this entire winter.
I know.
Snowed,
It's
flurries
ridiculous.
for, like, a
And
day.
we're getting snow now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, it snowed a couple of days ago. Now we're getting just an absolute, and understand, it rains a lot in Oregon, but it
Right.
didn't rain this year until now. We're getting just pounded. Pounded with rain. They had 7 inches of freaking snow Tuesday on the coast at the ocean in Oregon. That just doesn't happen here.
Well, as far as 2013, I've heard that the mines didn't even account for leap years, so the time's a bit off.
Well, damn you. That's what I was going to say, Taylor. How'd you know I was going to say that?
I'm
Next
psycho.
year, a dinosaur killer. There is a rather good-sized rock heading at us in 2015.
I saw that too, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming within like 16,000 miles. It won't take much for that one to come in, and that'll take out a good-sized city.
And it doesn't take much at all. I mean, just look at Tunguska. Even just an airburst, a little asteroid can wipe out a huge area.
Oh, we're talking to Sangha?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tunguska.
Tunguska. Tunguska, or whatever they have the Russian name of the.
Tunguska.
You mean the antimatter bomb explosion from the future?
Well, airburst asteroids do exist, and
Yeah.
one
They
could
do.
blow up over New York or any other city anytime.
Thank you for that little ray of sunshine.
Oh yeah, this is more rays of sunshine beaming into our hearts.
I could go
It
to work
is only
tonight
if you
and get
think
hit by
about
a
it.
bus crossing the street. So it that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I figure I can go anytime, and I'll go with a smile. I'd prefer to go underneath a bodacious 27-year-old female, but that would, if that's not going to happen, hopefully it'll be quick and painless.
That's the nature of life. A stream of a gamma ray burst could come by Earth. We wouldn't even see it coming and fry us all to death in a split second. And it's horrible to think of all this stuff. But
oh no, we would hear the screams from, if we were on the opposite side of the planet, we would hear the screams of the other people dying, and we'd know it was coming. We'd have enough time to panic.
unless you're on
Which
that
would
side
really
of the planet.
suck.
But the way you get over that kind of stuff is you find things to distract you, like video games. You find things to distract you away from the inevitability of your death. That's all entertainment pretty much is.